And trust those tits, what was all that? Were those demons? There aren't any more of those blasted demons coming, right?
No more demons. It's safe.
Maker? I've never seen one that close before. I knew Gaspard was a bastard, but I didn't think he'd feed to fucking horrors over a damn bill.
Duke Gaspard lured you out here.
Well, his sister. But it had to come from him, didn't it? And all that garbage she was spewing doesn't mean anything. Gaspard had to be the mastermind.
You honestly believe you were captured, tied up, and thrown into a death trap because of a bill?
When you put it like that, it seems a bit odd. The Duke wanted to move on the palace tonight, but he didn't have enough fancy chevaliers. So he hired me and my men. He had to offer us triple our usual pay to come to Orlais. Stinking punsy cheesemongers.
Want a new job? One that pays better? The Inquisition can always use a good mercenary company.
You hiring? I'm game. Anything's better than this bullshit. You want me to talk to the Empress, or the court, or sing a blasted song in a chantry? I'll do it.
Thank the Maker you're back. The Empress will begin her speech soon. What should we do?
Wait here, Cullen. I'm going to have a word with the Grand Duchess.
What? There's no time. The Empress will begin her speech any moment.
We owe the court one more show, Your Grace.
Inquisitor.
I'm giving you a chance to end this peacefully. There's no need for more death. Corypheus is only using you.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Really? You've already forgotten trying to kill me in the garden just a moment ago. You arranged for your brother to be at the ball so everyone would be watching him while you carried out your plan. So when the council emissaries stumbled into the wrong room and found your assassins, you could pin the blame on Gaspard. The Empress, your brother, and the entire court all here as your guests. A tempting target for Corypheus.
This is very entertaining. But you do not imagine anyone believes your wild stories?
That will be a matter for a judge to decide, cousin.
Gaspard? You cannot believe this. You know I would never... Gaspard?
You lost this fight ages ago, Your Grace. You're just the last to find out. Your Imperial Majesty, I think we should speak in private. Elsewhere.
Your sister attempted regicide in front of the entire court, Gaspard.
You're the spy master. If anyone knew this atrocity was coming, it was you.
You don't deny your involvement.
I do deny it. I knew nothing of Florian's plans. But you knew it all and did nothing.
I don't know which is better. That you think I'm all-seeing, or that you're trying so hard to play innocent, and failing.
Enough. We will not bicker while Tevinter plots against our nation. For the safety of the Empire, I will have answers.
Every one of you is implicated. You all conspired to allow this to happen.
That's a bold claim, Inquisitor. Are you prepared to defend it?
You allowed the Grand Duke to sneak soldiers in, hoping he'd make a politically foolish move.
That's duplicitous. Even for you, Celine.
You took the bait. I met your mercenary captain, Your Grace. He says you were ready to attack tonight.
Clever move. If you were trying to get hanged for treason.
And Briala was playing both of you. She murdered your ambassadors and sent you each forged letters.
Even if I did, you can't touch me.
No one will defend you once it's revealed that you and Celine were lovers when she burned Halam Shiral's alienage.
You've made your point. What do you want?
You were three of the best minds in the Empire. You could do so much for Orlais and your people if you stopped fighting.
It is remarkably optimistic to believe that the three of us could ever forget our differences, Inquisitor.
I cannot believe you want to make a speech. This is foolish.
We have no choice. The nobility requires an answer for what happened.
Unless you want to pretend the war was all a dream. That would go over well. No more dithering. We make the cut swift and clean. Kindest to all of us.
Lords and ladies of the court, we are pleased to announce that an accord has been reached. Our cousin Gaspard will now hold a place of honor in our cabinet.
Friends, we assembled are the leaders of the Empire. We must set the example for all Tedasa. We cannot be at war with each other, while the Fade itself challenges our borders.
We must stand united or surely we will fall alone.
We will save Tedasa from calamity, but only together may we accomplish this.
We will heal our wounded country. A long road of reconstruction lies before us. But tonight, we celebrate the arrival of peace. Let the festivities commence!
The Orlesian nobility make drunken toasts to your victory, and yet you are not present to hear them. Do you tire so quickly of their congratulations, Inquisitor? 'Tis most fickle, after all your efforts on their behalf.
Everyone suddenly wants to talk to me. You, at least, I'm glad to see.
Then I have happy news. as you shall be seeing a great deal more of me. By imperial decree, I have been named liaison to the Inquisition. Celine wishes to offer you any and all aid, including mine. Congratulations.
I had no idea you were interested in joining the Inquisition.
The assignment has been given to me, regardless of my personal interest. Celine knows you face an opponent who wields great magical power, which is far more important than her own curiosity. You will require my knowledge if you are to defeat such magic. Regardless, Corypheus is a threat to Orlais and to myself. Thus, I am not opposed to the appointment.
What skills do you have that would benefit us?
I have knowledge which falls beyond the realm of most mages. I suspect this is also true of Corypheus, thus it behooves you to add to your arcane arsenal, yes? Mundane knowledge will not bring the rift in the sky to a close, after all.
When you say knowledge beyond the realm of most mages, do you mean blood magic?
I know many obscure, forgotten, and forbidden arts. Some of it you might consider blood magic, yes? Should thought of that frighten you, allow me to offer reassurance. Knowledge alone does no harm. What I possess, I place at your disposal, to make use of or ignore as you desire.
Welcome to the Inquisition, Morrigan.
A most gracious response. I shall meet you at Skyhold.
Is everything all right? You look troubled.
I'm just worn out. Tonight has been very long.
It was a tumultuous evening, but Orlais is safe now. It was worth the struggle. Is there anything I can do? Can I get you anything? A drink, perhaps?
Would you care to dance with me, Lady Josephine?
I was hoping you'd ask, my lord.
The matter is urgent, Lady Josephine.
I am well aware of that, revered mother.
We will need them to return to Val Royeaux as soon as possible. There are ceremonies, ordinations. Maker's mercy.
That's quite impossible at the moment. However, I will see to this matter as soon as possible.
My Lord Inquisitor. Please, may I have a word with you?
How may I assist you, revered mother?
With the political turmoil put to rest, our minds turn to a single question. The next divine. We cannot answer it without the left and right hands of Divine Justinia V.
I have already told you, revered mother. Lady Leliana and Seeker Cassandra cannot be spared from their duties.
But surely with the support of the Empire, the Inquisition will not be harmed by the loss of just 2 souls.
Why do you need Liliana and Cassandra?
They were Her Holiness's most trusted advisors. They represent her legacy, her hopes for peace in Tedasa. They could rally the Grand Clerics to follow as no candidate from the clergy has been able to.
Liliana and Cassandra are candidates to become the Divine. How is that possible?
Not yet, but they could be. We need them to be. There is precedent. Other times when clerics remained deadlocked, a successor was chosen from outside the clergy. Lady Liliana and Seeker Cassandra were Justinia's most trusted friends and advisors. Our late divine is still held in high esteem. To honor her, the Grand Clerics might support one of them as successor.
How long does the Chantry need them?
Several months, at least. If one of them is crowned divine, she would not be returning to the Inquisition.
Liliana and Cassandra would have to make that decision for themselves.
And they certainly will, at a later date. The Inquisitor has only just returned and has important business to attend to. You must excuse us, revered mother. Don't let them detract from your victory at Alam-Shiral. We've beaten his wardens and stopped his intrigues. Soon, Corypheus will have no place to hide. Cullen is hoping to press our advantage. We'll plan our next attack when you're ready.
Is there a reply?
In due time. Hold yourself. I hope it helps.
I wonder what it is that gives Grey Wardens their legendary skill and stamina. I should like to study one. Would that fine fellow I've seen in your company consent to a careful examination?
Oh, my maker, you cannot imagine how many letters I've received about the fracas at Alam-Shiral. Fortunately, you tied twice as many threads as cut, although it is yet bewildering at the center.
How's it going? Do we have what we need?
With Skyhold shining like a beacon? You name it, it's here or on the way. I've wrung out the slackers, given them what for. I think I like this job.
What makes you ideal for this position? It's an important one.
My family has ties to several freehold militias, as well as cousins acting as officers in Ferelden and Orlais.
And your qualifications?
My family holds treaties with 3 new money Tevinter houses, and a rare Orzuma contract with a Paragon namesake.
And your qualifications?
To be honest, your worship, that was my question. I am the nexus of a dozen threads tied by others, designed to cast the widest and most appealing resource net. But I will rise to the occasion. Skyhold will want for nothing. I swear it.
There are problems coming out of Alam-Shiral.
There are always problems from Alam-Shiral. We've lost a few contracts, but more than made up for it. Although, if a few commendations were given, it might retie some severed threads. I couldn't suggest how. That is better decided at your war table, and I'm not going near that thing.
As you were.
Goodbye, your worship.
Are you sure?
I've seen bigger casts, but not better.
May God be with you.
Our heroes strode the winding
You know I've got no problem with legions, but Halam Sharal was a mess. At least under the Qun, you don't get everyone tripping on each other's dicks while the country goes to crap.
I hate politics.
You've got a crappy job then, boss. Good to see you, boss.
See you later, Bull.
Nice talking with you, boss.
Inquisitor.
See? What did I tell you?
Thank you.
One for the Empress, for Gaspar, Brianna, the Duchess, and Corinthus, right in the dangle bag.
Well, remind me to stay on your good side.
Don't worry, you're sparkling compared to that lot. A cook here, a footman there. What's it matter, right, so long as there's a butt for the throne? A pretty one, sure. But how many lives are worth one Empress's arse? Ugh, that place. Should have just thrown in some bees and slammed the doors.
I don't know. You want to stop a party, I think you go earwigs.
I hate those things, with their little pinchy butts. Josephine should add that to her paper threats. You know the real lesson from all this? Never sleep with an Empress. That, and Briala being an idiot. The whole thing would have gone different if that little piss-up wasn't in the middle.
That was a mistake on their part. It made everything worse.
Wrong way around, Inquisitor. It started worse. Lots of people died before there was a hole in the sky. That's who you're saving. If you get a chance, maybe remind them not to be idiots. Can't wait, what's on?
Are things playing out the way you expected?
About time we turned around on this Cariffy whatever. Make him feel like he's on the wrong end of the dogs for once, yeah? Go on.
What do you mean?
I didn't understand the Grand Ball. It would have been easier if they said what they wanted.
Orlesian nobles see politics as a great competition.
Yes, but none of them ever win.
May I ask how things are, now that...
It hurts. Everything hurts. Everyone remembers me, but I'm real. More real, anyway. And I understand more than I did. She's still behind the curtains in the reading room, watching the blood pool on the floor.
How'd you like to get out of here? Maybe do something fun.
I don't know. I've never tried.
Come on.
Inquisitor, you honor us with your presence. May I bring a sampling of fine cheeses for you and your guests?
I don't eat.
Well then, just a bottle of a fine Ghislaine White to start. Please enjoy your meal this evening, your worship.
He saw me. They all see me.
I'm glad you've allowed them to.
I don't know if I did. I told you about Reese, the mage who could see me, my friend. But this isn't about them. It's about... But now I know that doesn't have to be true. I'm here. I'll try. I sometimes see what... My body is just like the real Cole's. He thought that if he... Now I can see more. Because I'm... It wasn't blood in the bath, fingers on the scalp, intimate, and then the moment is gone.
I'll talk to you later.
If you like.
A good place to pick yourself up.
Will you not consider it, Lady Cassandra? The clerics are still sequestered. If no one steps forward, they will debate until...
And you think I could make them agree? I've heard enough for one day, Mother Giselle.
Talk to her, your worship.
Is there a problem? It seems like she's bothering you.
Mother Giselle is kind, and she means well. So, yes, she was. I assume you've heard that Leliana and I are both candidates to be the next Divine. Because of what happened at Halam Shiral, of course, the Empire favors you. Thus, everyone close to you. So now the Chantry bandies our names about without even asking us first.
How can you and Leliana be candidates? You're not even priests.
It's not without precedent. Amar III was sister to the Emperor, and Galatea a commoner. Leliana and I were, at least, part of the Chantry hierarchy. It would be accepted.
If they'll pick non-priests, why am I not a candidate?
Because you're a man, first and foremost. If they name you a candidate, they may as well join the Tevinter Imperium. Truly, though, I imagine it's because they're frightened of you. A weight such as yours would break the Sunburst throne and tear the Chantry to pieces. I just don't know why they believe Leliana or I would be any better.
If you don't want it, then tell them so.
Surely it was never meant to be like this. The Chantry, the Circle of Magi, the Templars, this cannot be what they intended when it all began. The Chantry should provide faith, hope. Instead, it cannot veer from its course, even in the face of certain death.
I'm surprised to hear you, of all people, say that.
Oh? Am I not the same woman who declared the Inquisition against the Chantry's wishes? In all my years as a Seeker, I did what I was told. My faith demanded it. But now my faith demands something else. That I see with better eyes.
Many extraordinary things have happened to get us to this point.
I'm not so certain. I think it has been a long time coming. Did you know Varric is Andrastian? Oh, he blasphemes with every second breath, but deep down he believes. His heart is virtuous. But he would never step foot in a Chantry. It should be the first place to which the virtuous turn. It needs to change. Perhaps I must be the one to change it.
You're not the only candidate. What about Leliana?
Leliana says she wishes to follow Justinian's legacy. But she and I remember a different person. Justinian knew her fellow clerics and the people would only accept so much change. Leliana would cast it all aside and start over, I think. And that would be chaos for us all.
What would you change about the Chantry?
The Circle of Magi has its place, but it needs reform. Let the mages govern themselves with our help. Let the Templars stand not as the jailers of mages, but as protectors of the innocent. We must be vigilant, but we must also be compassionate to all peoples of Tedasa, human or no. That is what I would change.
So this is your new crusade?
I've agreed to nothing yet.
And if the Chantry calls on you?
Then I will do whatever I can, for as long as I can. I suppose I should not be so concerned. The clerics speak my name for now, nothing more. For now, restoring order and stopping Corypheus remain our priority.
I need to have a few words with my publisher. The first one will be you, and the second one will be Bastard. They've claimed for years my crime serials don't sell in Orlais. So why is the Council of Heralds asking me for autographs? Sorry, distracted. Anyway, you need something? I've read you. That's a pretty common... I can spare some time. What do you need? You want it? No problem.
There are spirits hovering by the veil to observe the thrones of powerful nations, the machinations, betrayals. After our time in Halam Shirao, I understand why. I had forgotten how I missed court intrigue.
You miss court intrigue? When were you at court?
Oh, well, never directly, of course. An elven apostate is rarely invited to speak with empresses and kings. But from the Fade, I have watched dynasties form and empires crumble. It is sometimes savage, sometimes noble, and always fascinating. In any event, Celine should now be a steadfast ally, especially after helping her neutralize Briala.
I hope you know that I didn't turn over Briala lightly. If I'd had another option...
What? Why would I disapprove of... Oh, because we're both elves. I'm sorry, I was confused. I do not consider myself to have much in common with the elves.
Who do you have much in common with? Who are your people?
A good question. I joined the Inquisition to save the world. Regardless of who my people are, this was the best way to help them. As for the elves of Orlais, I believe Briala is doing quite well on their behalf. She is an admirable woman.
She's done good work. Hopefully, with our help, she can help them even more.
Yes. However much I identify, or fail to identify, with her people, Briala's efforts have been remarkable. She organized resistance against a powerful enemy, using only her wits and the resources at hand. That demands respect, especially in a world where most would look at her and only see a pair of pointed ears. How can I help?
I'd be interested in hearing your opinions on elven culture.
Perhaps you could ask Sarah. She has opinions.
You don't much care for Sarah, do you?
I pity her. Although I imagine she would detest that. Perhaps in truth, I envy her. She has a purity of purpose that I lack. I have observed too much and done too little. What do you wish to know?
I'd like to know more about the elves from before our time.
The Dalish strive to remember Halam Shirao. But Halam Shirao was merely a fumbling attempt to recreate a forgotten land.
Arlathan.
Elvanan was the empire. And Arlathan its greatest city. Place of magic and beauty, lost to time.
You've studied ancient elves. What else do you know of Arlathan?
We hear stories of them living in trees, and imagine wooden ramps or Dalish Erebels. Imagine instead spires of crystal twining through the branches, palaces floating among the clouds. Imagine beings who lived forever, for whom magic was as natural as breathing. That is what was lost.
I'd like to know more about the Dalish elves.
It is a mistake to think of the Dalish as a single group. They have lived as separate clans for centuries now. As a consequence, each clan has learned, interpreted, and forgotten different parts of elven history. Some trade freely with humans, or adopt city elves who flee the alienages. Others attack humans on sight.
What can you tell me about elves living in human cities?
The culture in alienages or among the slaves of Tevinter is like any of the impoverished and powerless. They cling to memories of a better past, and practice a few rituals to distinguish themselves from humans.
Is elven magic different from the magic used by humans?
No and yes. Magic is magic, just as water is water, but it can be used in different ways. Dalish magic is more practical, not needing chantry approval, although they still frown on blood magic. Superstition. Much of it is more subtle. A legacy from when elves were immortal.
Legends of elven immortality. Did they use magic to increase their lifespan?
No. It was simply part of being elven. The subtle beauty of their magic was the effect, not the cause of their nature. Some spells took years to cast. Echoes would linger for centuries, harmonizing with new magic in an unending symphony. It must have been beautiful.
You said that the censure against blood magic was a superstition.
I did. It's fortunate Cassandra is not within earshot. Most modern cultures forbid blood magic. Publicly, even Devinter disapproves of it. But as I said, magic is magic. It matters only in how it is used.
To be honest, I don't see it as different from any other magic. It's a means to an end.
Indeed. The problem is that under the Chantry, blood magic is forbidden, so only criminals practice it. While in Tevinter, magisters compete with each other, instead of keeping their volatile friends in check. They always succeed through power, so they have never had the chance to learn another way.
We'll talk later.
Goodbye.
Marvelous business, the Winter Palace. You saved an empress, and now she's eating out of your hand. Perfect mental image. All this dancing, politics, and murder makes me a bit homesick.
Happy to oblige. A taste of home just for you.
Not just for me. Fun for the whole family.
Perhaps I should have invited some.
We were there. That's what counts. I hope you tried the ham they were serving, by the way. Tasted of despair. It's fascinating.
I should go.
Here's the request Sir Morris made. Oh. So it's true. Some look to Cassandra or even me as Justinia's successor. I never thought the idea would gain momentum. Of course, with the other candidates out of the picture...
Is becoming divine something you really want?
When Justinia was alive, I would have laughed at anyone who even suggested that I could be her successor. Things have changed. Still, I don't know. Restoring the Chantry will be like trying to steer a sinking vessel through a storm.
Whoever becomes divine will have my support if she requires it.
And I'm sure whoever becomes divine will absolutely require the Inquisition's backing. The Chantry is faltering, but it still has influence over the people. Who tells the people what's right? Who do they look to in times of peril? A divine with enough support can change the Chantry. And with it, Tedasa. But this is a discussion for later. If Corypheus wins, finding a new divine will be the least of our problems. A message from Divine Justinia.
That's a shock. Are you all right reading it?
Thank you for the concern, Inquisitor. But I am. This message was written months, perhaps even years ago, to be delivered to me if she died. I've heard of such contingency plans. A sudden death often leaves loose ends. I'm to go to Valence, a small village on the waking sea. There is something hidden there.
Why hide things in Valence? What's so special about it?
Justinia was revered mother at the Chantry there for many years before she became the Divine. It is a place that holds great meaning for her.
I'll help in whatever way I can.
Wonderful. I was hoping you would agree to come with me to Valence. One more thing. If what is hidden in Valence is as valuable as I think, we're not going to be the only ones looking for it. I shall meet you at the Chantry in Valence. Try not to delay. At your service, my lord.
You seem to know a great many people.
I have made friends, and on occasion enemies. It's unavoidable.
What do you know of Morrigan?
She's changed. She used to be so disagreeable, cruel. She said things just to hurt people. Now the sharp edges have worn away. Perhaps it was Kieran. He seems so normal, like any other little boy. And so polite. Not that I was expecting anything else. I mean, never mind.
We can continue this conversation later.
You know where I am.
I'd be perfectly happy never again setting foot in the Winter Palace. It wasn't the gossip and backstabbing, I know what the game entails, but the indifference to it all.
We ended the stalemate. That's what matters.
In the Winter Palace, the clerics in Val Royeaux were still arguing over who should be divine. Chantry politics may involve less spectacle, but they're just as heated. Celine and Gaspard rule a country. The divine influences half a continent.
Is there anything I should know?
Only that I'm never playing cards again. I don't know how Varric talked me into that.
Maker and Lady. Corypheus is taking a lot of them apart.
The Inquisition is on its tail.
Want a drink? I've a hankering for company. When I was a boy, there were these urchins who roamed the streets near my father's house. One day, they found a dog. A wretched little thing. It came to them for food. I caught it, tied a rope around its neck, and strung it up. Do you know what I did?
You stopped them? Cut the dog down?
I did nothing. Not a damn thing. It was crying. I saw the kicking legs, the neck straining and twisting. And I turned around, went inside, and closed the door. I could have told my father, or alerted someone. I didn't. I just pretended it wasn't happening.
You said you were just a boy.
I was old enough to know the dog was suffering and that it was wrong. I may as well have tied the noose myself. We could make the world better. It's just easier to shut our eyes.
When we first met, you were saving peasants from demons and outlaws. You're not a man who shuts his eyes. A little insane, maybe?
Of course you'd make light of it. You make saving the world look easy. The rest of us can only dream of matching what you've done. Don't you see? It's not just about what happened back then. There's always some dog out there. Some fucking mongrel that doesn't know how to stay away.
I wonder who knows pain as strife. There is an issue that you should address. I think it's worth your time, Inquisitor. Inquisitor?
Oh, creators. Let me kneel before I walk only where you reveal. Stand only.
I do not believe a reminder is necessary for this accused. Her capture and disgrace could not have been more public. Grand Duchess Floriane de Chalon, although her titles are among the dignities already at risk of forfeiture. You spared her life despite her treachery. What becomes of it now falls to you.
Out of your element, Floriane. Welcome to the Inquisition. My party.
Despite her posture, Lady Floriane has acknowledged your authority.
Should I curse you on behalf of the Elder One? I realize he had no intention of honoring the concordats I manipulated. Do as you must. I respect your mastery of the game, even as I despise your victory. Celine does not know her fortune.
She has caused no end of misery. It's time she brought some joy. Grand Duchess Floriane de Chalon, jester to the Inquisition, in flat shoes.
History's greatest malevolence, Inquisitor. I am the jest of Orlais already.
To be in the thick of the game again. The last time I was at Alam Shiral was Countess Letienne's wedding. There were a dozen affairs, 5 secret alliances, and a duel between 2 chevaliers over the vintage of an Antivan port. But until the Duchess was en masse, I've never seen the Winter Palace in shock.
No one can say the evening wasn't memorable.
They've already begun composing songs about it in Val Royale, no doubt. The game's become increasingly insular in the past few years. Corypheus skillfully took advantage. It's disturbing so few people in the Orlesian court were aware of the Duchess's machinations.
The nobles of Orlais were worried about their own health, not the Empress's.
Some must have purposefully turned a blind eye. There's often room for advancement when thrones change. But let's not lose sight of victory. Your actions at the ball have secured us allies and favors alike.
My favorite moment of the evening is still our waltz in the garden.
I could have danced with you for hours. We must do it again sometime. I was hoping you'd be by. We've received letters from Archon Redanus of Tevinter and King Marcus of Nevada. For both monarchs to come to us is nearly unheard of.
More proof the Inquisition's fame has spread.
Fame is one thing. Asking for help is another. Archon Redanus requests that the Inquisition, as a neutral party, destroy a Venatori cult on the Nevaran-Tevinter border. King Marcus asks the same, but demands we pledge allegiance to Nevara instead of Tevinter.
What course of action would you take if you were in my place?
Strained as their relationship with Orlais is, I would assist the Imperium. Their friendship is difficult to win, and Marcus is a fading power. Tevinter is the longer, richer gain.
What sort of man is the King of Navarra?
At this point, elderly. Many fear his health will soon fail him. Still, he is a Pentagast. Their dynasty is exceptionally strong in Navarra.
As a Pentagast, will Cassandra be upset if we don't help her relatives?
With all respect to Sikar Pentagast, her interest in politics is best described as thin.
Why is the ruler of Tevinter turning on the Venatori?
He has little reason to love them. Archon Redanus has rightly identified Corypheus as competition. few monarchs relish a self-styled god showing up to claim their throne.
Tell me about Radanas.
Like most Tevinter rulers, he's heir to an ancient bloodline, politically shrewd, and a highly skilled mage. Rumor also claims he has an incredibly soft spot for cats.
Inform King Marcus the Inquisition will wipe the Venatori from his borders.
Very well. It will be done. Yes?
I came to see if I could steal you away for a few minutes, for myself.
Oh, goodness. Quickly then, before anyone needs something from us.
You're the Inquisitor. You're very tall. Mother didn't say you were a Canary.
Just who is your mother?
Mother is the inheritor. She who awaits the next stage.
Kieran, are you bothering the Inquisitor?
Of course not. Did you see what's on his hand, Mother?
I did see. 'Tis time to return to your studies, little man. My son. Never where you expect him to be, naturally.
I didn't know you had a son.
Why would you? I take great pains to not let my own reputation affect him in any way. To most in the Imperial Court, he's simply a quiet and well-spoken lad. Perhaps the heir of some distant family. But he goes where I go. Worry not, Inquisitor. Kieran is a curious boy, but seldom troublesome.
Will his father be joining us as well?
'Twould be most unlikely. His father helped raise Kieran for a time, but events have conspired to take him elsewhere. So 'tis but the two of us, Inquisitor. Your fortress is a large place, and you will scarce notice our presence.
He seems like a fine young man.
But not the sort one might expect a woman like me to raise. No son of mine would be raised in a marsh, bereft of contact with the outside world. His future will be difficult enough without my adding to his burden. To think, until recently this place stood decrepit, occupied only by the desperate and the lost. Now it is party to events that threaten to shake the world. I wonder if it is pleased.
It sounds like you've heard of Skyhold before.
This fortress was built upon the remains of a site holy to the ancient elves. They called it Tarasalan, the place where the sky is kept. It is said that from here, they reached up to the heavens to bring them down to rest. They abandoned it, as did the humans who came after them. Bones laid upon bones, silent until your arrival.
We were lucky to have found it when we did.
Fate is often mistaken for luck, as Mother is fond of saying. The magic in this place has seeped into the stones, protecting it from darkness. Those who let it fall to ruin did not know what they possessed. You, I think, shall do it justice. You were kind to welcome my aid, Inquisitor, even knowing as little of me as you do. I will do my best to aid your cause with all the knowledge at my disposal. This I swear to you.
I appreciate whatever help you can give us.
Some might think Corypheus a madman for seeking godhood. Yet one must ask, what were the old gods? What secrets of theirs did the ancient magisters know? What I fear, what all should fear, is not that Corypheus believes he can succeed. 'Tis that he actually may. Leliana gave me the note that the hero of Ferelden included for me. She may even have left it sealed. A pity. She would have learned things that could make even an Orlesian blush. Now, was there anything else?
I'll leave you to the garden.
As you like.
It's time to plan our next attack. What's the state of the Inquisition?
Our alliance with Orlais holds. For the present. They'll send aid on request.
And your actions at Adamant denied Corypheus his army of pet demons. With Orlais' support, our numbers match his. Corypheus' followers must be panicking.
My agents agree. Our victories have shaken his disciples.
That's what we want. Demoralized soldiers fall first. Where is Corypheus now?
After you dealt with the Duchess, Corypheus uprooted his major strongholds. He's moving south to the Arbor Wilds. His army clearly wasn't prepared to flee. Our victories have them on the defensive.
We strike Corypheus now, while his people are reeling. If he's hiding in the Arbor Wilds, that's where we finish him.
But what is Corypheus doing in such a remote area?
His people have been ransacking elven ruins since Haven. We believe he seeks more. What he hopes to find, however, continues to elude us.
Which should surprise no one. Fortunately, I can assist.
You have my attention, Lady Morrigan.
What Corypheus seeks in those Forgotten Woods is as ancient as it is dangerous.
Which is?
'Tis best if I show you. This is an Illuvian. An elven artifact from a time long before their empire was lost to human greed. I restored this one at great cost, but another lies within the Arbor Wilds. That is what Corypheus seeks.
You can restore an artifact like this.
There was a price, but one I gladly paid. I found legends of an elven temple within the Arbor Wilds. Untouched. It proved too dangerous to approach, and thus I turned elsewhere to find my prize. If Corypheus has turned southward, he could succeed where I failed. The Illuvian would be his.
What does it do?
A more appropriate question would be, where does it lead? If this place once had a name, it has long been lost. I call it the Crossroads, a place where all Illuvians join, wherever they might be.
This place is extraordinary. How could this even exist?
Who can say? Formed from the fabric of time and space, perhaps. The ancient elves left no roads, only ruins hidden in far-flung corners. This is how they traveled between them. As you can see, most of the mirrors are dark, broken, corrupted, or unusable. As for the rest, a few can be opened from this side, but only a few.
Corypheus wants to come here.
This is not the Fade, but it is very close. Someone with enough power could tear down the ancient barriers.
And enter the Fade in the flesh, like Corypheus wanted to do with the Anchor.
He learned of the Alluvian in the Arbor Wilds as I did. He marshals the last of his forces to reach it. You have made Corypheus desperate, Inquisitor. We must work together to stop him, and soon.
You're one of the fastest.
Lights in the shadow.